The point is,
that's what you're kind of.
look, it's back to the axiom of the reason we disagree is your axiom says life does not begin at conception. It begins when I say it begins.
And we both have the right to
And
disagree.
you have the right to your opinion. I believe that biblically the right that God has laid down the proposition via Scripture. He's informed us because we're not brute beasts. If you go to the prophet Jeremiah, he says, "Before I was even conceived, you knew me." Okay, the fundamental problem is that there's axiom. The reason this problem will never be solved is when you start from a different fundamental axiom that's different.
But that's the reason we can't have church and state in the same argument, because everybody's axiom is different, and you have to be unified. You have to be together.
I'm not promoting a church. I'm not promoting a church. I'm promoting an axiom.
But even Rick Santorum is against the radical Islam. It's not even the radical Islam. It's the groups that happen to be Islam. This whole movement, the Rick Santorum thing.
Stop. No.
Religion plays a big part of it, and it should.
Hold on. I know. I love what you're saying. I love what you're talking about. But let me get a word in edgewise.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, my only point is that being married has certain state laws, certain responsibilities, certain state laws. Now, gay people, they want to do that. Now, there are churches that say, we don't care, we will marry you. And those churches have that right to do that because it's their decision. Now,
they have the right to believe. They have the right to believe.
They have the right to believe that and to do that. Now, I don't have any affiliation towards or against. Now, it's their choice to do that because it doesn't technically.
We're talking about a different subject now.
Yeah, but when I think I may have
let him go on the argument.
No, we're having a different argument. First of all,
first
of all, if you're entering the issue of homosexuality, all I would say is this: biblically, it is clearly biblically the axiom is. It is sin. There's no middle ground. There's no gray. Churches who say we're going to marry and are clearly not Christian. The Bible says
they're different denominations.
But as you said, But as you said, it's a biblical axiom.
Stop. I'm not talking about churches. I'm not talking about churches. I know more.
Why did you start with biblically?
I know more biblical theology probably than you do.
Yes,
Okay. It says in the New Testament, John writes, if you do not have the doctrines of Christ, you do not have God. That is an axiom. Okay, if you do not accept Christ's doctrines, you don't have to. Nobody's going to I'm going to present the axioms and the doctrine of Christ, and then I'm going to walk away. I'm not going to, under penalty of policemen, force you to believe. I'm simply, as a Christian or anybody else who's teaching, they simply say, these are the axioms which God and Christ has laid out. Accept them or reject them. I'm not going to make you. And if you do, and if you accept them, you're a Christian. If you reject them, you're not. And that's
when you put those ideals into our law, that becomes a problem. Because other religions don't have to.
I understand that would become a problem but the fundamental problem is this. How do you make laws? Do you start with, I woke up in the morning and I felt like... you have to argue law from principle. And even if you're not...
The Bible's the only way.
And even... Stop a second. Even cultures that don't accept the Bible accept the child in the womb. So it's not... Man has the Muslim culture accepts children in the womb as conceived at, as child at conception. They have... So the point is, man has a priori knowledge. When you're born, and you're a little baby, and you're 3, and your mother says, no, don't touch that hot stove, you understand because you have a priori knowledge. When somebody says, don't steal, we don't have to tell you what that means. You have a priori knowledge that's been put there by your Creator. You understand certain things. There are certain things that you understand. And when we say, don't steal, I don't have to explain to you what stealing is. You know what stealing is. You know that that's Billy's toy and that's your toy, and you can't... That's okay? So there's certain things...
I got my values from my parents, but not from the Bible.
Okay.
So
but where did they get their values?
They got their values from living, from seeing what's right and wrong
Okay.
themselves, from forming their own opinions. I was taught to form my own opinion and see for myself, not trust what a man in front of the whole congregation tells me.
Okay, I understand where
My
you're.
uncle's a preacher. He does this.
No, I understand. I understand what you're. I understand what you're saying. But in a society, if your opinion is this and his opinion is different, see, that's where you get into the
We
problem.
must find the middle ground.
There, in certain things, there's not a middle ground. You can't.
You can't argue
I believe
that.
we found the middle ground with about after 6 months. That's a child that's going to come out breathing.
But do you know that they're talking and when I was about, I'd say 1992 or 93, I remember reading an article in the Sacramento Bee, and at that time they were talking about how about we wait till a child is born and then we make the decision to kill the child or let them live. And
That's an
no.
extreme that isn't
These are
19 years ago,
professors.
it had to make
No, these are professors at Harvard who are talking about this. And just about last week, I read another article. Same thing.
Ask what
Are you sure it's not satire?
Well, sometimes the extremely
What
smart
did
are
you
kind
say?
of radical.
Have you read The Onion?
It could have been an article from the
Well,
Onion.
I don't believe it's
I
that.
heard.
There was an article about that.
No. I read the Sacramento Bee years ago. This has been discussed.
19 years ago.
You don't
The
take from
Sacramento
the
Bee
extremists.
wrote it before there was an Onion. Okay.
You don't take from the extremists. That's not what you take from. That's not what I
No, these aren't extremists. These are.
That's a very extremist
These
view.
are no.
To kill the child when it's born.
No,
to decide
no.
If that's the time to kill, that's very extremist. That's not what we take.
Stop a second. Have you studied Roman history?
Yes, and homosexuality.
Okay. Stop a second. In Roman history, the father had the opportunity after the child was born to leave the child out and take it out into the woods and leave it in the elements. This was standard procedure in Roman society in the first century. I would say you haven't evolved. They're still talking about it today.
That
woman.
was 19 years ago in a single article in the Sacramento Bee.
No, that's one article, but it represents the thinking of a lot of people.
Of an
does-
extremist.
Oh, yes.
Extremist view.
No.
Thinking of one person.
Stop a second.
It's
Stop
a
a second.
writer,
Think-
not writers.
Think about what you're doing. You're drawing a line in the sand and saying,
So
my
are you.
value system says, I'm going to say at 6 months it's a person.
And your line in the sand is way over here. We just have to find it.
That was
No.
the middle
You're
ground.
saying it's radical to say right after they're born. But these people are saying in principle.
super radical
There
Stop
are
a
lots of
second.
people
Stop
who
a
are-
second. No, stop a second.
No, if you're going to make the argument about
Would you kill a
radicality,
baby that was on the floor that you were looking at?
In principle,
yourself wouldn't.
I think they're
doctor
more
would be okay
honest.
with
Look, the point is this. I
no,
think
I'm not. There is a Mormon doctor
logically,
that was
the
famously
person that
fired from,
says you can kill the
what's
baby
that
after he's
guy at the
born
hospital?
is
Kaiser
at
Permanente.
least
There's
being
famous,
logically
no, he didn't-
consistent
he got hired
with
Permanente
saying it can be
But he got
born
fired because when the
2
baby
months
was coming
earlier.
out.
At
Let me
least
give
they're
you this one.
logically consistent because they're saying I have the society has the right to decide when is the correct time. But I'm not arguing my proposition. I'm simply saying if you reject it, that per God in the Bible, He says at the point of conception,
I do believe so.
that is when
I do
life
believe we
starts.
will never agree, and I do believe these poor police officers would like to go home. It was lovely talking to you.
Can I take a
You know what? They're worried
Everyone
that we're
give
going to
your
start
names.
in a fight, but they